My name is Jack Berg, and I am a junior finance and business analytics student from Overland Park, Kansas. And today I am at the beautiful Crystal Bridges Museum of Art in Bentonville, Arkansas. And the piece that I'm standing in front of is called Dancing in Nigeria by Melvin Edwards.
The sculptor, Melvin Edwards, is an African-American artist who is known as a pioneer in African art and sculptures. Personal experiences in college fueled Edwards to learn more about African culture and history. During his first trip to West Africa in 1970, Edwards began creating diagrams that track the movements of African dancers. These diagrams are what Dancing in Nigeria is based on. Even though the sculpture is static, it celebrates movement and the nature of dance. When examining the color of the piece, we can see that Edwards chose a hue of yellow, and after some research, I found out that Edwards used this yellow color in a period of experimentation in his career. There are no different values within the sculpture because it is all the same color of yellow. The yellow also looks as if it has a high intensity, and I think this is to signify happiness. When looking at the composition of the sculpture, we again can see that the elements are arranged so that they replicate the movement of an African dancer. The viewer is meant to walk around and view the sculpture from many different angles so that the static piece will begin to move in your mind. Next, when looking at the balance of the sculpture, I would argue that this piece has asymmetrical balance. It is very clear that it does not contain symmetrical balance, but the two objects of the sculpture seem to be partners, similar in size and structure. The first time that I viewed the sculpture, I thought that the side with the piece that looks like a ladder was the dominant side, and that the other side balanced it out by having less focal points. Now we can examine the most important element of the sculpture, the perspective and use of space. When looking at the use of perspective in the sculpture, you can see that Edwards uses perspective to portray the movement of a dancer. Directly correlated to the use of perspective in this piece is the use of space. Edwards cleverly uses space to create depth and the illusion that this sculpture is moving, when it is really a static piece of art. Lastly, we can look at the shapes that are used in the piece. While there are no defined shapes like triangles and squares, Edwards uses oblong shapes and curves to create the swift movement of the dancer. All of these elements of art come together to create this unique illusion of movement. The most relevant methodology to analyze this sculpture with is the biography and autobiography method. The biography criticism in art would suggest that Edwards' experiences as a black child in America fueled his appreciation for African culture. We also know that Edwards' trip to Africa was right around the time that racial segregation was outlawed, so now instead of portraying historically bad moments in African American history like he normally did, Edwards decided to construct this sculpture to display the beauty of African culture. The ism that Dancing in Nigeria belongs to is modernism. A common theme of modernism is apparent here, which is the rejection of conservative values such as the realistic depiction of objects. We can also see another theme of modernism, which is an emphasis on design and volume. Edwards' experimentation with the form, styles, and shapes used here show the use of modernism throughout the entirety of the sculpture. When examining the past eras of art, we can also see hints of Cubism and Expressionism. Cubism and modernism are similar in the way that they reject the idea that art should also imitate nature. Also, a popular method of Cubism pioneers, such as Pablo Picasso, was to stylize their shapes so that you could view the piece from many different angles, which is the entire idea of this sculpture. We can see Expressionism in the piece because it is not displaying reality, but more the emotions and thoughts of the artist. The Expressionist themes that are prevalent are a lack of dissonance or pattern, and the use of an artist's feelings and experiences to create images in a distorted manner. I chose to study this piece because I wanted to analyze something unique and abstract that I did not fully understand. At first glance, the sculpture really does just look like a hunk of metal, but now I am able to understand its true beauty. I think Edwards is an incredible artist that brought to light the injustices that African Americans have faced in the US, and he has also allowed us to explore the beauty of African culture. I'm glad I was given the chance to explore this piece of art, and I hope that everyone else gets the chance to do so in the future.